Hello and welcome to our weekday meditation. And the topic these days is compassion. And one of the really important parts of compassion is the ability to offer presence, not just simply be present for suffering, but offer presence for it. And the general standard or the reference point for compassion that I like is when we're in the presence of it personally. It's not something we see at a distance or read about, but that we're with someone who is suffering. When it's at a distance, the equivalent of presence, being present for something, is to be a witness, to take time to witness, to to offer presence, take time to allow us, the suffering of the world, to be seen clearly, to be understood, to be felt, so that something deep inside of us can be triggered. Not the surface reactions, not the surface reactivities, not the surface fears and imaginations, but some of the deeper capacities to care, to have a deep rapport, have an attunement with others. A deeper capacity to have a respect for the people who suffer, and the respect that translates to being present. And one of the key ways to learn this, and very important aspect of all this, is to be present for our own suffering, to have a rapport with it, to have an ability to witness it from a deep place within, not from the surface reactions, not from the places that we are become afraid or become anxious or become somehow the surface hurts, where maybe our surface kind of identities that we've developed over a lifetime, it can be easily be threatened. But someplace deep inside that's not easily threatened, a place of confidence, a place of stability, not easy to find, not easy to happen. But this is why Buddhist practice is so important. And it's important not to leave compassion to chance, not to just accept how we are in a certain way, that we will have the best form of compassion if we encounter suffering, but to work cultivating it and developing ourselves, growing, so that we have the ability to offer profound presence, profound witnessing of our own suffering and the suffering of others. So to take a meditation posture, to assume a posture of presence, a posture where in the posture itself there's an expression that conveys presence. If someone were to see you meditating, would they see a posture of presence, of being present, with the posture demonstrating attentiveness to the present moment? And for many people, it's to sit a little bit straighter, perhaps. Maybe there's a kind of a lift in the spine that travels up into between the shoulder blades, and lifting up that goes up through the spine and the neck and tips the head forward and down a little bit. The chin comes a little closer to the chest, maybe. And maybe in such a way that the chest is more open. Some people might call it a vulnerable position of the chest, more exposed. I like to think of it as a heightened sensitivity that we welcome, heightened availability to be present for what's going on. And then within this posture, to offer attentiveness, offer presence to how the body breathes. And slowly, mindfully, taking some comfortable, fuller inhales, relaxing the body on the exhale. Both of these movements of fuller breath invites a greater connection and awareness to the body, and so does relaxing the body. The places that relax tend to become a little bit more sensitive or awake to sensations. If nothing else, the goodness, the pleasure of relaxing. And letting breathing return to normal. And there's many different ways to experience breathing. It can be different parts of the body that move as you breathe. It could be the upper chest, the mid-chest, the diaphragm area, the whole belly area. It can even be way down in the pelvic cavity. It can be the back rib cage, the movements of the shoulders, the air going in and out through the nostrils and the back of the throat. Where do you feel your breathing? The body's sensations of breathing that's most pleasant, most comfortable for you. Maybe it's where it's subtlest, maybe it's where it's clearest. Maybe it's a different place than where you usually feel it. Is there any place in the body connected to breathing that offers reassurance, calmness, or stability? And if it does, breathe with it, breathe through it. Allow yourself to feel the calming effect, the reassuring effect, the stabilizing in the present moment. as you breathe in and breathe out, with a kind of rhythm of breathing. On the inhale, feel the tensions or pressure, contractions that might be in the thinking mind. And on the exhale, feel that more carefully. Offer a witnessing, a knowing of what it feels like for the thinking mind to be agitated or busy, tight, under pressure. Without relaxing it, just witness it, feel it, offer presence to any discomfort associated with a thinking mind. And then searching around your body, as you inhale, connect to some place of tension or holding in your body, some place of discomfort. Feeling some place of tension in the body on the inhale, and on the exhale offer presence, witnessing, a simple knowing. by staying with the rhythm of breathing in and breathing out, riding the massage, riding the alternation. It can be easier to be with what is difficult because we're not going to be as submerged or preoccupied with the difficult. The breathing accompanies it. The breathing keeps us a little more reassured or at ease or less reactive. Staying with your breathing, breathing in and breathing out, and gently, lovingly, be aware of whatever is uncomfortable for you, even if it's very, very subtle. And see what it's like to be a gentle witness. How, how simple can you be as a witness for what is uncomfortable for you? There can even be a very simple presence, attention to what is uncomfortable that is pleasant. A pleasant, comfortable attention. A witnessing of what is uncomfortable or difficult within you. And the ability to witness, to be present in a comfortable way, can be a wonderful condition to have compassion, to have care, have a kind of love that wants things to be better. That offers care, offers a kind of love for the difficulty, a love without expectation, just care, caring attention, as if attention itself is a good medicine. And then switching your attention to what is comfortable inside of you, what is pleasant. And in the same way, breathing with it, breathing through it. In the rhythm of breathing, feel and allow, feel and witness, feel and sense more deeply what is pleasant. Allowing the thinking mind to be quieter so that there's a silent witnessing, sensing of what is pleasant, comfortable, reassuring. And as we come to the end of this sitting, what have you discovered, felt, recognized that offering presence, offering to witness or know better, what have you learned about how it's a good thing, how it feels good to offer that kind of attention? In what way do you feel it's a gift for yourself and for others to offer attention? And if attention is medicine, as if attention is medicine, turn your attention outward, out into the world, to be a witness, attentive witness to the sufferings of the world. Staying very close to the idea of being the witness, and that's enough. That's a gift. That's the important first step for compassion, is the willing to be present quietly, peacefully, as a witness who doesn't turn away from suffering, but is there to know it, to witness it, to offer presence, hopefully free from reactivity, free from judgments, free from agendas, free from shoulds, but which strives to be deeply attuned, deeply aware. And from the depth of our sensitivity, may there be the wish, the desire that suffering end, that suffering is alleviated and lessened, and then we and others do what we can to lessen the suffering of this world. May all beings be free of suffering. May all beings be free of war and poverty. May all beings be free of oppression and prejudice. May all beings live in safety. May all beings live in peace. May all beings be free. And may we live in the world believing that we can contribute to that possibility. May all beings be happy. Thank you. So hello and welcome back to this ongoing series on love with currently talking about the form of love known as compassion. It's one of the very profound capacities that contributes to so much of the goodness in the world, to the way that people care for each other and support each other. And it's one of those attitudes, states, motivations that is medicine for the world. And some people build whole careers out of their compassionate desire to alleviate suffering, to make the world a better place. So in this beginning of this series now on compassion, one of the really important aspects of at least Buddhist compassion is that compassion does not make us a victim of suffering that we see in the world, or even our own suffering of others. And it's easy to get contracted, it's easy to get reactive. It's easy to take the sufferings of others, even our own suffering, oddly enough, to take it too personally, to be too involved in it, to become a kind of victim of it, to suffer more because they're suffering. And we encounter other people who suffer, we learn about suffering elsewhere through the news, and in the wake of that we suffer more. And of course, that's it's terrible that there's suffering of the world. And now we've contributed to even more of it being there, because of our distress, our despair, our fear, our anger, our hostility that we might have towards feeling suffering itself, to there being suffering in the world. And in Buddhism, at least, we don't want to encounter suffering and suffer more. We want to encounter suffering and contribute to the end of suffering. We want to be able to learn how to be with suffering in a wise way, in a way that doesn't contribute to more suffering. We don't want to be a victim of suffering. And to learn how to be with it with suffering in caring ways, with spacious ways, with presence, where we learn a deep attunement to others and to what's happening. And in this regard, it's important to maybe distinguish between the kind of compassion we'd feel when we're in the presence of others who suffer, and the kind of compassion we might have, or a response we might have, when we're not in the presence of it, but we read about it or learn about it on news or on media or some other indirect way. And when it's indirect, when it's learned, then it's much more potential that we're experiencing and seeing it through the filters of our imagination, where it gets larger than it is, or it gets smaller than it is, but some kind of imagination that involves feeling a certain kind of helplessness and hopelessness because it's so far away and we're not connected. But to do it when we're in the presence of other people, that can also be difficult, because then maybe we feel like we do have to act. There's something immediate we can do or think we should do because we're directly connected to the situation. And in both circumstances, one of the things that's an important part of compassion is to give time to offer presence, give time to be a witness, take time to get to know the situation better, not to be reactive, not to be caught in it immediately just because we hear it. This, of course, is not an easy skill to learn, but this is what we have mindfulness practice for, meditation practice for, is to learn how to offer presence, non-reactive presence, non-judgmental presence, at least initially, so that we can somehow build up the rapport, the attunement, the the care that's deeper than any kind of reactivity we have. Because the compassion that we're looking for in Buddhism comes from the depth of our being, not from the surface. It's not necessarily something that comes from our immediate reactions to what's going on, but rather from a deep availability we have, a deep capacity we have to receive, to be available, to really sense and feel and take time to know what is going on. And so, learning to trust the value of getting to know something, to really take time to feel and sense and hear, listen to people, find out what's going on with our care, with our kindness, with our goodwill, so that if there's going to be a compassionate response, it can grow, it can arise from a much deeper place than what the first instinct is, the first reaction might be. And so in this regard, it's helpful to know some of the ways in which, some of the things that get confused as compassion. Sometimes people feel like when they feel deeply disturbed, troubled by what's going on around them with suffering, they associate that being troubled with compassion itself. And so compassion seems like a very difficult emotional state, very unwelcomed. It's the opposite is true, that compassion in its cleanest, simplest state that comes from the depth of our being feels right. There's a rightness to it. There's a appreciation of it. It can even feel sweet, or it can feel pleasant. And of course, those are the kind of, you don't necessarily feel that when you're in presence of something terrible suffering, but there can be a rightness. Yes, it's right to be present. It's right to feel this and be present. I'm willing, I'm here. So in Buddhism, we talk about what's called the near enemy and the far enemy of the Brahma Viharas. So in this case, for karuna, compassion. And the far enemy of compassion is the thing that looks like compassion, but is actually can be the opposite. I have that wrong. It's really the opposite completely. The near enemy looks like it, but it's not compassion. So the far enemy are things like cruelty, violence, hostility. In fact, compassion in Buddhism is meant to be the antidote to hostility that we might feel, to cruelty in the world. That we meet that with the medicine that somehow settles it. And over time, to learn to have confidence and skill in how to meet cruelty, how to meet hostility with a kind of peacemaking, compassion, care, love, presence is one of the great skills to learn. Maybe not easy to learn, but it's wonderful to have the motivation to take the time to learn that. So the far enemy, the big enemy of compassion that sometimes makes it difficult to arise in us is if we're caught in hostility, if we're caught in ill will. And so part of, again, the function of mindfulness is to help us see what we're doing, see that we are caught in these kinds of reactive states. And it doesn't really serve us well, to look for the alternative. The near enemy, and this is where people get confused around what compassion is, the near enemy is to be distressed. The near enemy is to have a certain kind of pity for people, which is kind of a looking down at people or diminished respect for them and their suffering. It can be that the compassion gets mixed with anxiety and fear. Compassion near enemy might be an activated kind of low level of anger and blame that goes into it. There's a variety of things that feel like they're part and parcel of compassion that are kind of painful to have. Kind of makes it harder and makes it more stressful to have compassion. And sometimes compassion and these near enemies can coexist. and which is also makes it difficult. So, but compassion never makes us a victim. Compassion doesn't leave us helpless, doesn't leave us hopeless. There's always something we can offer, and the minimum we can offer with response, and at minimum, and maybe the first area, is to be be a presence, to be a witness. In so many situations, learning more, listening more, can be experienced by others as part of our care. We stop, they're important. It's a sort of form of respect, it's a form of offering value. It's an important way of showing that we care, to take time to learn and understand more deeply what's going on. And so to do that, to be able to do that, because of course it's going to be difficult and uncomfortable to be with suffering. One of the really important areas of mindfulness practice is to learn to be with our own discomfort, learn to be able to stop and be a witness to how we suffer, and to learn how to train ourselves to have a non-judgmental, non-reactive, non-hostile, non-hopeless attitude to staying with how we suffer as an individual. And maybe even see our own suffering as a laboratory where we're going to experiment and learning how to be suffering in a new way, rather than seeing our suffering only as unfortunate. Maybe sometimes we can get a little bit of excited that, oh, look at this, I get to suffer. Now I get to train myself in how to be present for it as a simple witness, simple, available to feel it, know it more deeply, not rush to action, not rush to fix it, not rush to judgment, not rush to the imagination of what it means and where it's going and what this says about me. But experiment, learn how to have a radically simple attention, witness for how we're suffering, we're difficult. And part of the value of doing this, that the reason I'm offering it here today, is so that we can offer that to others. And learn how to offer presence, attention, listening, witnessing of what's going on, really know well, so that the compassionate instinct, the compassion to care for people is well informed. More important than well informed, that we kind of begin feeling it comes from the depth of who we are, not from the surface reactivity of who we are. This is one of the great gifts. So compassion, where we're not a victim, but rather we're medicine for the sufferings of the world. So thank you, and we'll continue on this tomorrow.